Over 2,000 years ago in ancient Greece, a blind poet known as Homer, along with the most famous authors, playwrights, and historians of their day, would record the tales known to us as Greek mythology. They would speak of the great heroes of the land, the mighty gods of Olympus, and the mortal men and women who were unfortunate enough to get in their way. But who was Zeus, and why did he wage a war against his own father and send a great flood to wipe out humanity? How was mankind created by Prometheus, and why were the horrors of the world unleashed from Pandora's box? What awaited the souls of the dead in the realm of Hades, and how were monsters such as the Hydra, the Cyclops, and Medusa slain by famous heroes? From the 12 Labors of Hercules to the Trojan War, this is the entire story of Greek mythology. In the beginning, there was only chaos, a great void of emptiness. But from the chaos sprung Gaia Earth, as well as Eros love. They were then joined by night and day, who would put an end to the reign of Erebus, darkness, with the eternal cycle of dusk and dawn emerging. Lastly would come Tartarus, the deepest depths of the world, where condemned souls would be sent for punishment. But these would not be the only primordial beings to emerge, for Gaia would birth one more, Uranus the sky. The two would then unite and produce 12 children, 6 sons and 6 daughters. These children would be known as the Titans. Among them was Oceanus, a great river that encircled the world. He would be joined by his brother Hyperion, the sun, who would ride his great chariot across the sky, shining light down upon the earth. But when day became night, his daughter Selene, the moon, would emerge, shining her light into the darkness. But Uranus was a cruel father to the Titans, locking his children deep within the earth. To escape, they would look to their mother Gaia, who fashioned an indestructible sickle that she gifted to her youngest and strongest son Cronus. Cronus would patiently wait, and when Uranus next came to lie with his mother, he would jump out and slice off his father's genitals, which fell into the sea. From them would spawn Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, and the first of a new generation. Having defeated his father Uranus with the sickle, Cronus would take his place as ruler of the world. But his reign was not to last, as Cronus would have 3 sons and 3 daughters with his sister Rhea, with these children becoming known as the gods. Cronus, however, was just as cruel as his own father, and having recently been informed that one of his children was prophesied to overthrow him, would swallow each of them whole as they were born. Only one would escape this horrible fate, with Zeus, the youngest of his children, being saved by his mother Rhea. Not wanting to lose her last child, Rhea would hide Zeus on Mount Ida in Crete, and instead feed her husband a rock dressed in infant's clothing, with the Titan consuming it none the wiser. Zeus would be raised by his grandmother Gaia on the island, being hidden away until he reached manhood, and was strong enough to challenge his father. When the time came, Zeus would return, striking down Cronus and releasing his siblings from his father's stomach. With his brothers and sisters now at his side, Zeus would wage a war for 10 long years against the Titans, releasing from the depths of the earth the 100-handed giants, as well as the Cyclopses, legendary craftsmen who would forge Zeus a mighty thunderbolt, Poseidon a trident, and Hades a hat of invisibility, turning the tide of the war. With the Titans defeated, Zeus would imprison them in Tartarus, deep within the earth, where they would remain in torment for eternity. Having led the Titans in battle, a special punishment would be reserved for Atlas, who was cursed to hold the sky on his shoulders forever. Only a few Titans would escape punishment, with Themis, the Titan of law and order, and her son Prometheus, who had allied with Zeus at the start of the conflict, been pardoned and allowed to live their lives amongst the gods. With the world now free of the Titans' rule, the three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon and Hades, would decide what realm each would claim, with Zeus receiving the sky, Poseidon the sea, and Hades the underworld, where the spirits of the dead would reside. Taking up home on Mount Olympus, Zeus and his fellow gods would become known as the 12 Olympians, ruling over mortals and monsters alike. While the gods now ruled Earth, Prometheus, one of the only Titans spared, was not satisfied with its inhabitants. He saw only beasts, mindless creatures that were barely worthy of attention. And so Prometheus would fashion man from clay, sculpting his new creation in the image of the gods. But Prometheus was not content with his new creation, as man dwelled in the caves just like other beasts. And so he gave them fire, a great primordial flame that would allow them to emerge from the cave, to fashion tools and rise from the darkness. Man would soon come to rule over all other creatures, but Zeus was not happy. He wanted them to show gratitude to the gods, and so demanded that an animal sacrifice be made at each meal, but left it to Prometheus to decide what part of the animal would be offered. But Prometheus's loyalty lay with man rather than the gods, so wanting to give them an advantage, he would kill a bull and divide it into 2 parts, presenting both to Zeus. On one side lay the tender and juicy meat, hidden under the unappealing stomach of the beast. On the other side lay the bare bones of the animal, concealed by a thick layer of delicious fat. Zeus would choose the parcel covered in fat to be offered to the gods, but when he stripped away the top layer to discover that only bones remained, he would become enraged, and so decided to punish man by taking away the fire Prometheus had gifted them. But without fire, man went back into darkness, retreating into the caves. Wanting to save his creation, Prometheus would scale Mount Olympus to steal the fire of the gods. With his great torch in hand, he would return to Earth, gifting his creation fire and allowing civilization to start once again. When Zeus looked down to see fire on Earth yet again, he was furious, taking Prometheus and chaining him to the side of a mountain. Each day, Prometheus would lay in torment, as Zeus sent an eagle to feast on his liver. But as Prometheus was immortal, each night the liver would grow back, only to be consumed once again the following day. On and on the punishment would go, with his suffering continuing for millennia. But Zeus was not done and wished to punish humanity further, asking Hephaestus to craft a being capable of inflicting great suffering upon man. And so, taking up clay from the earth, Hephaestus would shape the first woman. From Aphrodite, she gained her emotions and beauty, and from Zeus, an insatiable curiosity. Hermes would give her the gift of speech, but also grant her her name, Pandora, meaning all gifts, as she had received an offering from each of the gods. Pandora was then given a final gift by the gods, a sealed box that she was told contained special gifts, but was forbidden from ever opening. Zeus would then instruct Hermes to deliver Pandora to Earth, where she would soon marry the Titan Epimetheus, the brother of Prometheus. Prometheus had advised his brother not to take anything from the gods, but he was so struck by Pandora's beauty that he accepted her without thought. For a time, the two would live happily together, exploring nature and having a daughter named Pyrrha, who brought them great joy. But in all her curiosity, Pandora's mind would always wander back to the box. As days turned to weeks and weeks to months, her curiosity turned into a burning desire. Finally, she could resist no more, peeking into the box to see what was inside. But the moment she did, a great cloud filled the air. Out sprung all the evils Prometheus had kept away from man, with greed and envy, as well as old age and disease, all escaping into the world. By the time Pandora managed to close the lid, there was only one thing remaining inside: hope. It was to be Zeus's greatest punishment, For with hope, men would cling on to their lives through all adversity, ensuring they endured the hardships that now burdened them for the rest of time. And so ended the golden age of man, a perfect time where humanity lived without care or worry. Never growing old, they would live off the wild fruits of the land, enjoying all that nature had to offer. But with old age escaping from Pandora's box, their time on earth had come to an end. Next would come the age of silver, and then the age of bronze, where man would become arrogant, failing to worship the gods, and forging weapons to wage war on each other. Vicious and cruel, man would draw the anger of Zeus, who was so appalled by man's lust for war, would decide that humanity deserved nothing more than to be completely wiped from the earth. The only feasible option he saw to do this was to unleash a great flood upon the world, and so he asked his brother Poseidon to gather all his strength and strike his trident upon the deepest depths of the ocean. The wave created was so powerful that it would eclipse the tallest mountains, crashing down upon the cities of man below. Rains would pour from the heavens, and winds would strike the water until it consumed all the eye could see. Those who survived would soon succumb to starvation, until finally all dry land had disappeared. There would only be two survivors, Pyrrha, the daughter of Pandora, and Deucalion, the son of Prometheus. They had been forewarned by Prometheus that a great flood was coming, and so had built a ship to survive the coming destruction. Their little boat would survive the ravages of Poseidon's great storm, drifting alone in the vast oceans while they mourned for their fallen kin. They would soon drift towards Mount Parnassus, the peak of which remained the only place the oceans had not consumed. Believing his job was done, Zeus would command the rains to cease and for the waters to recede, with the earth becoming calm once again. But although the earth was now still, it was devoid of all human life. Deucalion and Pyrrha would then ask the gods how they could rebuild humanity, with the titan Themis being sent to answer their prayers. To bring back their fellow man, Themis instructed that they each travel along the mountain, throwing stones behind their backs as they went. Day after day and night after night, they would each throw stones behind them, with those thrown by Deucalion growing into men, and those by Pyrrha into women. And so it was that humanity was born once again. With the crimes of their ancestors washed away, they were granted a second chance, able to choose a path of their own making. Only time would tell if they would be as brutal and destructive as those who had preceded them. But this time, humanity would be protected, for on Mount Parnassus, Deucalion had found a gift, a tool so secure that not even the gods of Olympus could breach it, something that would keep humanity safe for the rest of time. Nord's ultimate security package. You too can reclaim control over your digital privacy.